Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Chris Allen with your weather podcast for this April 21st. It is a bit early for the podcast, but changing things up. If you saw yesterday on my Facebook pages, I mentioned that going to change some of the products around, some of the things like the podcast and the webcast and all the other different things that I'm doing in the mornings. To be just a little bit more efficient on when these things push out to you, the content, we call it, media content, digital content, all that kind of stuff, so that it works better for you and works better for me. Number one, want it to work better for you. Number two, work better for me. Work smarter, not harder. So in times past, I found myself working a lot harder than smarter. So took a little bit of a survey and just kind of, we can see these things now and watch the products as they go out almost in real time, how they're being used. And all of that is tracked through something that's called Google Analytics. And that's where we can actually, it's almost like a ratings sweeps. You know, it's like for television, we have these certain times of the year when people are sent diaries and they're asked to fill them out as to which TV shows they watch and things like that. Excuse me. And which channels they watch and all that kind of stuff. Well, we have to usually wait a month or two before all that data comes back, and then we can see the ratings. Google Analytics really is a ratings in real time for social media and the internet, and we can see instantly and in real time just who is using what products and on what platform. We can even see if people are on their phone or they're on their PC or they're on their tablet. I mean, it's that precise. It's kind of scary if you think about it, but you know, if you're on the internet, if you're on the World Wide Web, you're on your phone, everybody knows it. Somebody knows it. They're tracking it, every bit of it. So we're using that to our advantage to see when it's best to push out certain products like this, the podcast, to you. So what I'm doing is shaking up the schedule just a little bit, shaking up the routine, and making things available at different times instead of trying to push it all out at once, which was, frankly, was starting to overload me early in the morning. And especially when we would have bad weather in the morning, then there were times when I couldn't do a podcast or couldn't do a webcast, and I felt like I was slighting everybody. But this way, hopefully we'll try this and see if this is more efficient. So right now, as I'm recording this podcast this morning, it is 4:20 a.m. Central Time on Tuesday morning. And hopefully I'll have the podcast out by 4:30 each morning, maybe even earlier than that, depending on how the weather, when it's quiet like this, it'll be easy to do. When there's activity going on, like if there were strong thunderstorms or some kind of issue going on with severe weather this early in the morning, then it may take a little longer. But a lot of you that I surveyed said you like to have this before 6 a.m., and so that's what I'm trying to do, get it out early enough to where you can listen to it, download it, put it in your podcast, your iPod, or maybe your device, so you can listen to it while you're working out or getting ready for school or work or driving the school bus, whatever it may be. Because we have podcast listeners all over the world, believe it or not. I have some folks that used to live here in southern Kentucky who now listen to the podcast in other countries, and it's because of their job, or maybe they moved to another country, and this is their connection back home. And so I appreciate that very much. We're still sort of closing in on 10,000 listeners worldwide, and the numbers continue to grow each day. And so I thank you so much, and man, I just pray blessings on each of you for listening to this podcast, which, if you did not know, if you're new to the podcast, this is This is a podcast that's been involved in at least one motion picture, in at least one movie. And I still, from time to time, get people that will write me and they'll say, hey, I know I heard your voice in that movie, Joe, starring Nicolas Cage. If you didn't know that, go and rent or buy the movie. It's called just simply Joe, Joe, Joe. And it stars Nicolas Cage. It came out last year. And yes, that is my voice on the radio. And it's actually taken from this podcast. And it's pretty neat stuff. Anyway, so let's get to the weather. That's why you're here. 64 was our high temperature yesterday in Bowling Green, 71. The average, that's a 7-degree difference. 52 was the low, 47 the average low. That's a 5-degree difference. A year ago, we had a high of 77 and a low of 43 back in 2014, and we picked up almost a half-inch of rain officially yesterday at the Bowling Green Airport with those heavy rain showers that came through, 4,800 hundredths to be exact. And now we're at 8.73 inches for the month of April, and that puts us as the 5th all-time wettest April on record for Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it looks like we could climb that ladder even more, maybe going to number 4, number 3. I don't know if we'll hit the all-time wettest, which is well over 11 inches of rain for April. We may come close to that, though. For today, there are some showers in the forecast, but not until late this afternoon and this evening as yet another cold front crosses the area. In the meantime, we're going to start out mainly clear and actually kind of chilly this morning. Right now, temperatures are in the mid-40s. We're going to see increasing clouds, and the winds are going to be even stronger today than they were yesterday. As that cold front comes in, we'll start with some sunshine and then increasing clouds, breezy today, a 20% chance of a late-day shower or thunderstorm, and the high at 68 with a southwest wind at 15 to 25, even up to 30 miles per hour. There could be some higher gusts in northern Kentucky, closer to 40 miles per hour later today. Tonight, though, a little better chance, 40% chance of a shower or thunderstorm, and a low of 48. For Wednesday, we'll see some morning showers left over, and then becoming partly sunny with a high of 70. Thursday, mostly sunny, 65. And then Friday, here comes the next system in the line of systems, as we'll start with a partly sunny day, 66, but by evening, a 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Sunday or Saturday, a continued 60% chance of showers, a high of 63. Not really thunderstorms, just scattered showers, but I must tell you that the models are not in very much agreement as to what's going to take place over the weekend. They're in somewhat disagreement. In fact, they're in a lot of disagreement as to how these systems are going to come through. One leans a little drier and cooler. The other are actually drier, a little warmer. And then the other is leaning a little cooler and damper. So we're going to kind of go in between those two until they can kind of come into better agreement. By Sunday, though, we think we will dry out. Sunshine, 66. By Monday, though, another 30% chance of a shower, and 69. This pattern, this kind of cool, damp pattern, doesn't look to really go away anytime soon. That's bad news for the farmers who need to get out and do some field work. I know that's kind of frustrating, but we'll just hang on here and see how this all shakes out. At least we're not in that serious drought situation like we had years ago, or that they're experiencing now out in the western part of the United States. It's terrible. It's critical drought out in that part of the country. At least we're not dealing with it. I'd rather deal with too much rain than not enough. All right. That'll do it. Thank you for bearing with some of the changes, and hopefully these will work for you. Hopefully the podcast still works for you. You still enjoy it, and I appreciate you listening to it each and every day, Monday through Friday. Spreaker.com. You can listen to it there. I believe it's still available at iHeartRadio.com. You can download the iHeartRadio app, and you should be able to put in the Chris Allen Radio or the Chris Allen Weather Podcast. I have to remember what it's called. The Chris Allen Weather Podcast. I've got so many things going on. Radio show and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it should be available at iHeartRadio or TuneIn, the TuneIn app, or app. Yeah, TuneIn also has it there. And then a Spreaker.com. Then, of course, I post it to Facebook and Twitter, so it's easy accessed there. All right, thank you, guys. God bless you so much, and thank you for listening to the podcast. Know the weather before it knows you. Have a great day. I'll see you live at 5:30 on AM Kentucky, streaming live to the WBKO app and to WBKO.com. And don't forget, so I'll make mention of it here as I'm talking about everything else, my radio show on the radio, FM 100.7, SAM 100.7, Classic Hits, this afternoon, 3 to 7, SAM 100.7 FM. Have a good day.